Good morning and welcome to another episode of Applexus Expert Series. My name is Elizabeth Fratantino and I'll be your host and moderator for today. And with me is Shelley Schwartz, Practice Lead for Applexus Retail Practice. Hey Shelley, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks, Elizabeth.
So today we wanted to talk about SAP's Customer Activity Repository, or CAR for short. They've told us a lot about it for years and how great it is. But I wanted to get from your perspective, why is CAR important for retailers today?
Thanks, Elizabeth. That's a great question. So let's talk a minute of history here. Initially, CAR was introduced to be a replacement for the SAP sales audit solution called POS Data Management, POSDM for short. But it only had sales audit there and some analytics. But CAR brought additional analytics, inventory visibility, and a vision for supporting demand forecasting and planning solutions, as well as omni-channel capabilities. If you want to take a quick look at everything that's in CAR, you can see from this graphic that there are really two major areas. The CAR core foundation in the middle there, and then at the top, all of the add-on planning apps that use that foundation. So CAR's initial use cases were pretty limited, but with the maturity of CAR today, companies are basically adding additional use cases. So they're doing omni-channel support, retail planning apps like assortment management, merchandise planning, promotional management. And so this has become the additional use cases. So why CAR should be implemented and why now? Well, if a customer already has POSDM, they're going to eventually need to move it to CAR before SAP retires it, right? But also, if a customer hasn't moved to CAR yet, there are extensive add-on planning and executional capabilities of CAR that give that retailer a real impetus to implement now for those extensive capabilities, as the whole retail world is pretty much being tipped on, its side, upside down, because of all of the requirements to really support customer needs and changes in business processes. So CAR really is the foundation for omni-channel support for any retailer. And that's way beyond those initial basic use cases.
So you mentioned that CAR is the foundation. And as you and I have talked about in the past, the real power of CAR is in the add-ons. Can you talk to us about a couple of the more prevalent add-ons? And I understand that Applexus has some add-ons as well.
Sure. So, obviously CAR is far more than sales audit, but that's the foundation that's critical because that data drives everything else. And that's where the real value lies. So once you've got sales audit in place, there are basically two more components that are foundational for those added applications: the unified demand forecast and the omni-channel inventory visibility. These two extend CAR, the initial sales audit foundation, so that it can be utilized by all the planning applications. Once you have sales audit, the demand forecast, and the omni-channel inventory visibility, you've got everything you need to support all of the retail planning apps. Now, all those apps are great. People are using all of them, not necessarily one customer using all, because the CAR planning apps are modular and they can be implemented in any order according to the customer's priorities. So now the foundation expands to these two added modules that I'm saying that are critical, and they're part of the core, the inventory visibility, and also the demand forecast. And then you can go on your way and do anything you want for planning. But Applexus has also added value to CAR, as you said, in two major areas. First is the way the auditors view and manage the overall balancing process for sales audit. It's not exactly the most user-friendly. So Applexus stepped in and developed a new Fiori-based front end that is far simpler to use. And so the sales auditors go into this front end first to make sure everything's fine for their audit, and then they drive into the normal UI. Secondly, SAP doesn't provide any standard method today of doing customer credit card reconciliation for retailers. That's a significant gap for most retailers. So there are some third-party solutions. They're separated from CAR, they're separated from SAP, which means you're interfacing and so forth. But Applexus has developed a solution for this right in CAR. So that's got benefits to be able, for the retailers to be able to reconcile immediately, not have third-party ongoing costs, and it's all in CAR. So those are the things that I think are most important in terms of CAR, what's happening today with CAR, and where it's going in the future.
Awesome. Thanks for all that information about CAR. And I look forward to hopefully having you on the show again. We can talk about implementation and some of the things that retailers need to look out for when they're thinking about CAR. So I want to thank everybody for joining us today, and hope that you will join us for the next edition of Applexus Expert Series. Thanks, everybody. And thanks, Shelley.
Thanks, Elizabeth.